What's up, kitchen table wizards? What's up, deck brewers from all over the world? How are you feeling? How are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing?
I am great because there's a new card that came out. Here it is. And when a card like this in a new set comes out, sometimes you have to take that old deck, get it out of the cupboard and rebuild it. And that's what we're going to do today with the TREEFOLK. So before we head into the deck, a quick shout out to our partner Card Market. They keep giving me vouchers and I keep throwing them out to you. Well, if you want to be eligible for a voucher or just support the channel, click the subscribe button. Make sure to also click the bell icon and also give the video a like. But most importantly, leave a comment below. And this time, the fate and the future of the channel depends on it. Because you know, I am right now preparing my next gauntlet, my next little magic tournament. And I want from you 3 tribes that you want to see in the gauntlet for next year. And who will be there next year as well? Well, I hope so. That's this girl, Nora. Oh, let's call her Chandra from now on. Today we're doing a TREEFOLK deck, so with the memes, I don't think it's going to be easy. Are you okay with that?
Don't worry, I got it covered.
Alright, let's see what happens. Now, today's deck is a little bit tight on the budget. We go over $50 a little bit. We go close to 50 euros. But what's most importantly, we are saving trees with this investment.
Why are you so romantic?
And for the land you have a special today, right?
Yes, Chandra is correct. I'm really happy with some new lands in Jumpstart. Well, wasn't really happy a few months ago because Jumpstart supply was very limited and these lands were very expensive. But luckily now they're all over the place and you can pick them up very cheap at Card Market as well. So we play 12 of our TREEFOLK lands from Jumpstart and also 3 swamps with some TREEFOLK who have wet feet. And they are painted by the legendary painter Larry Elmore. And if you're into Dungeons and Dragons, you certainly know who this guy is. Forest cards are a sub-theme in the deck, so I also included this life-giving forest called Sapseed Forest. And the TREEFOLK also have their own tribal land, which is actually really good. It provides the 3 colors of mana I need in the deck, and it also can come into play untapped if you have a TREEFOLK in your hand. Indata, Triome and Canopy Vista are both forests, and this is a good thing. Well, the Branchloft pathway isn't, but I really like the flavor and it's very functional as well. As you can play it as a land that gives green mana or as a Boulderloft pathway that gives white mana. Now let's head into the forest and meet some walking trees. TREEFOLK Harbinger is our 1-drop in the deck and it's a very good one. As when it enters the battlefield you can search a forest or a TREEFOLK and put it on top of your library. Bosk Banneret adds an extra point of power to the stats of the Harbinger. And this one makes TREEFOLKs and Shaman spells 1 less to cast. Now important to know is that a card that is both a TREEFOLK and a Shaman still just costs 1 less to cast. Now on to some TREEFOLK for 3. Battlewand Oak is an aggressive tree. Now I'm not sure how an aggressive tree looks like. Nora, Chandra, have you found anything for us?
Let me have a look.
Ah, that's a good one. Alright, let's continue. The Back Poplar Shaman gives trees regenerate and the Fey Burrow Elder helps with your mana fixing. A legendary tree with a big bomb is Doran.
Wait a second.
That's right, that's right. Okay, I'm impressed, Okay, let's continue. When this one attacks, it's a 5/5 for 3 mana that makes all our trees hit with their toughness instead of their power. So there's a little big butts sub-team in this deck. Doongrove Elder can be a problem for the decks with a lot of targeted removal, and it gets big fast. And the Dauntless Doorbark doesn't have hexproof, but it also counts other treefolk. And it does have trample most of the time. And the Leaf Crowned Elder works great with the Harbinger. These two trees work well together. The Unstoppable Ash exiles another tree until it leaves the battlefield. And if you combo it with the Wickerbow Elder, you can destroy 2 artifacts or enchantments. Another legendary indestructible tree is the Sapling of Colfenor. In this deck, it draws you cards 50% of the time, and almost 2/3 of the time it will also give you some extra life. 2 big trees are the Everbark Shaman, who changes dead trees into new forests, and the Seed Guide Ash. They both work great with the Dungrove Elder and Dauntless Doorbark. Now the treefolk also have a lord, and his name is Timber Protector. He makes trees and forests indestructible and gives other treefolk +1/+1. Now I was tempted to put an Armageddon in my deck because I have so much forest with the Timberwood Protector. We could do some nasty things and make our opponent look like this. But we keep it casual, so I didn't do it. Calonian Twin Grove is a sweet one with all the forest. It gets huge and it will never be alone. So when it hits the battlefield, your opponent will likely be in trouble. This deck doesn't have a lot of removal, but the Thorn-Toothed Witch can get rid of a lot of small creatures, which is very useful versus a deck with, for example, some small flyers. Warden of the Woods from M21 always surprised me in Limited, and Vigilance on a big body will be an issue for most opponents. And when your opponent tries to kill it, you'll get some extra cards, which is also something that the Ulvenwald Observer helps us with. The last tree of the bunch is an old one. I like the flavor text. To reach my age, you have to know when to bend with the wind and when to stand tall. But this one is not here alone for the flavor text. When it or another creature dies, it also returns a treefolk with lesser toughness than the one that dies back from your graveyard to your hand, which is great with the Calonian Twin Grove, for example, or Doongrove Elder and Faithburrow Elder. They are always a target if they're on the graveyard because their power and toughness is 0. Now I know there are some combos with this card in it, but I really want to emphasize on the flavor on a nice tribal treefolk deck. So no combo with this card, but I'll show it anyway for some inspiration. So if you have the big tree out of there with, for example, 2 Walking Ballistas, a Gaia's Anthem and in Ashnod's Altar, you could go infinite. And that's nice, but flavor wise, just doesn't fit with the deck. The last creature in the deck is the only non-treefolk, but being the god of the wood, it's also right on team. Nylea makes our trees cheaper, it's often a big indestructible creature, and it also fixes us some card draw. Now on to some support cards. Balagat Recovery can be a land or get a card back from our graveyard. And when I think of a forest in the morning, I think of fog. Now when you play cards like fog, always accidentally show it before you're going to start your game, and then always leave 1 green mana open. Makes games a lot more interesting. I don't play a lot of removal, but I do play 1 Lignify. And that can change any of my opponent's creatures into a tree. And of course, Return to Nature is also right on flavor, but it also deals with artifacts, enchantments and graveyard effects. For planeswalkers like Chandra or annoying lands, we have cards like Root Grapple. It does cost 5 mana, which is a lot, but it's also an instant speed removal that draws us a card. So it's a good trade-off. And this card is annoying for a control player. Play it at the end of your opponent's turn, then play a land on your turn, get it back, and do it over and over again. We only play one artifact in the forest, but scrying is nice with Sapling of Colfenor and with Nylea. And the extra card draw is also really nice. So these were the trees. Now on to the power rankings. If I would give points for flavor, this deck would get a 10 out of 10. Power level wise, it's good, but nothing more and nothing less. And this mid-range deck you can play both aggressively and defensively. It's a lot of fun because of the flavor. You can really get into the TREEFOLK, and although it's a bit more expensive, it's still value for money if you ask me. Being a creature deck, this deck does great against other creature decks, both aggro and mid-range, but it's a little bit more vulnerable versus a control deck. Dungrove Elder or Reach of Brambles are really the cards you want to draw. So this was one of my more flavorful decks this year. Now on to the card market winner. William Charbonneau, that sounds French. Check out the description below how to contact me and to claim your prize. I hope you loved the video as much as I loved making the video, and remember, if you're on a plain, mountain or an island or in a forest or in a swamp, the most important thing is always keep it casual.
And I think the trees are showing me which deck I want to see as well.